Welcome, everyone, to Mexican and Redneck Follow the World. We are your hosts and surrogate fathers, Juan and Ben. Today, we're going to be discussing eliminating distractions. All right, Ben, let's do this.
Let's do it. Eliminating distractions. So I was watching like motivational videos, and you see them, they're on YouTube, or maybe the company you work for shows them. And people say, you got to focus on your dreams. You got to stick with it. When the times get hard, you got to dig in. And I understand what they're saying. They're trying to give you a positive approach. They're trying to pump you up and get you fired up so you can go work hard for your company. Or maybe the YouTube person wants to encourage you so you'll go out and achieve that goal or that dream. And generally in these videos, they're 5 to 20 minutes long. And you feel good at the end of them because you've heard all this positive stuff. You're like, oh, this is great. And they'll throw something in like, and get rid of your distractions. But then that's just a passing phrase. And I understand they're trying to pump you up. So they're just going to throw that one in there because it's a negative, a distraction, But then they're going to move on to all the positive stuff. But I started thinking, like, what does it mean to really eliminate distractions? Because what they're telling you to do in those motivational videos we always see are you prioritize your time. That's always one reoccurring thing. Work hard, make sacrifices, and eliminate your distractions, and just focus on what is our long-term goal here. What are we trying to achieve in this moment? And it's different for everybody. But I started thinking, what are these distractions we need to eliminate? And especially in my life, because to do a podcast, this takes a lot of time.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I didn't realize, I thought I was going to show up at your house. We'll record for a few hours.
It'd be fun. Yeah.
Shoot it up on the internet. Lo and behold, the interwebs. and lo and behold, this is actually a full-time job.
Yeah, it's work.
It has a lot to it.
Yeah.
Marketing and figuring out new things you can do to, make your time better. And I realized, man, eliminating distractions is something I've had to do.
Oh, yeah. Like right now, I need to get up and go shoot a dog that's outside barking and eliminate that distraction of all episodes. How convenient.
Poor biscuit.
Yeah.
But I just think about society as a whole. Sometimes we get into a level of complacency where we're too distracted.
And then become hoarders. Yes.
And then become hoarders. Yes. Well, but you think about someone, you're trying to do good at work or to get through school or whatever you're trying to achieve. The people who really excel, they're probably not spending 20 minutes here, 15 minutes there, 30 minutes here looking at social media. They're probably focusing on whatever they're trying to achieve, whatever that may be. An athlete, that person's got to not only physically push themselves, but their food starts to become a source of energy, a source of rebuilding. And so they've got to start focusing on nutrition. They have to learn better techniques by reviewing what people before them did. They need to study their competitors. And so you start throwing all that stuff into it, and that athlete has no time for anything but being an athlete if they want to be the best. And that's kind of the focus of this, is honestly auditing our lives. Because I can't just say, well, stop using social media. Well, some people don't, but they have their own distractions. But audit your life and say, what are my distractions in life? Like, truly say, does this thing I do for 20 minutes here, does it bring me joy? Okay, good. That's in the it brings me joy category. That might be something you need to do. But if it doesn't bring you joy and it doesn't achieve your goal, is it really necessary? And the other part about eliminating distractions is, and auditing your life, is people kind of overestimate how much time they have in a day.
Oh, yeah.
And they think, well, I'll get to this, and this. I mean, how many times have people woken up and said, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to finally finish that project. and I'm gonna finally wash the car because it's been like 4 weeks, and they don't get much of it done at all because they think they've got 30 hours in their day. They just don't.
Yeah, and oh man, I can so relate with that, especially too. There's something about, obviously when you have kids, your level of distractions becomes increased that much more by your own. Plus, your kids distracting you all the time from things like that. But I look back into my early 20s and I was like, man, I had so much free time, and I wasted so much of it, And now I wake up those days with that high ambition of like, oh, I'm gonna get this done, this, and it's like next thing you know, it's like, oh, it's 1:00, and I'm just now having breakfast. It's like, what happened? And it's, I guess, with that too, Ben, it's like, to eliminate distractions, you got to know what's important in your life. What is it you're trying to achieve? What is it you're trying to accomplish? And because a lot of times I feel like we justify our distractions. We just like, well, I'm doing research. Really, you're doing research? Are you really going to become a farmer? You live in the suburbs. Well, I am. I'm doing research. I'm like, or it's like, oh, how to build a what was it that we were going to build?
A yurt?
Not a yurt. That lawnmower.
Oh, the lawnmower with the fan blades on the bottom.
No, it was
The
stroller.
electric lawnmower.
The lawnmower stroller.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. We were going to put a fan on the bottom of a stroller.
Yeah.
And that was going to be able to entertain the kids while you mow the yard.
Yeah, well, based on my research, it's probably not going to work. The kids never make it.
The lawnmower also didn't make it. It was a box fan.
Yeah, it's just the amount of duct tape, and with the supply chain issues that we're having, we just couldn't get it.
There wasn't enough duct tape to fix it this time.
So no, but going back to the distractions, let's not get distracted in this, I guess. Let's focus. Oh man, it's so true. It's so simple. What it said, but it takes effort. It takes effort to be focused. And that analogy that you're talking about, as far as like the athlete, you look at the best athletes, and you always admire these men. I guess the thing you admire about them, and women too, as far as like the dedication, the fact that they had the focus, the strength to go through that. But then I always wonder too about those athletes, like how many of their friends came by and like, hey man, just take some time for yourself. You deserve it. You've been working really hard. It's like, but is that distraction? And when you're able to overcome that, look what they have achieved. And then you look back in their life, they've passed their distractions. They're in a place where they now have the luxury and freedom to be a little bit more distracted, or not just be distracted, but actually accomplish the things that they were, breaking away to look at. Because really a distraction, to me, it's a method of escapism. You're trying to escape your reality. You may be doing something that's really, really hard, so you get distracted by something that's fun, shiny, bright, or, it's just like, oh, I'm just going to do this for 5 minutes. And the next thing you know, you spend 30 minutes on YouTube, and then the project is still sitting there. So I can so relate with that. And then the time factor, it's like, yeah, that's a big one. The older you get, I think just time just goes by faster, and it's just time management is a big thing.
I was trying to understand the purpose of college, for example, when I was going through college, because nothing like what they were teaching me, because I'd already had a career before I went to my higher level college classes to get a bachelor's, and I was sitting here thinking, what's the purpose of this? Why am I learning the history of labor unions and labor relations? And it occurred to me, college is just teaching you time management oftentimes. It's teaching you to think a certain way also, but it's teaching you time management and can you do your chores in
and let's clarify that too, because you did online classes, right?
I did do online classes.
So you didn't actually, you didn't do the college campus life and stuff like that.
I couldn't do that while working.
Right. No. So you eliminated that distraction and you just focused on the actual curriculum side of it.
Correct.
Okay. So yeah, when you look at the actual curriculum side, the main point of it is to help you develop time management and eliminating distractions, which he did a big part of it by actually just doing everything online and getting avoid. Because I feel like I agree with you, but college at the same time, it's full of distractions. Like you're supposed to go to do A, B, and C, but then you end up doing Z, Y, X.
Especially, I think with our, I don't know if it's with current generations, but if you think back 20 years ago when we were in high school, and you know you're a was it 2001? I'd have been a sophomore in high school, and you watch the movies like American Pie or something, and they talk about college or whatever, you know, super fun college movie of the week came on, and like they never showed the kids who were sitting there just studying. Those were always the people in the background, but the main characters who were the heroes, they weren't the ones in the background studying quietly doing nothing. The main heroes were the guys who were chasing the girl, doing the adventure, having the grand old time, partying, whatever. And so 20 years ago, you think of college, it's like, yeah, I'm going to go to college and get a good degree and have a lot of fun doing it. And that was your perception. At least, yeah, I mean, you know, you'd have to do schoolwork and stuff, but that was almost like a passing thing. And college was about connections and the experiences. And that was really a played up element to it, at least in my experience. I don't know if I'm accurate in that, but
I think you're accurate on that. I had a good friend of mine come help me yesterday on a house project, older gentleman, and he was talking about his college experience, which he did in his later in life. I don't know if he was in his 30s or something like that, but anyways, he earned 3 degrees while running a farm and working a full-time job and being married. But I was like, wow. That took like laser focus intensity. But he eliminated all the distractions in his life. And he made this comment that his wife was super supportive in that situation. She basically told him, I will support you in this endeavor if you will accomplish this. And he said, it's like, man, I didn't even know that the trash needed to be taken out because I was so focused on accomplishing those degrees. And I was like, wow, that's pretty intense, you know? So, and I think higher education is very, very important. I don't necessarily agree with like college as being a necessity. It's a form. If you need it to get the tools that you need to acquire to accomplish the thing you need to do, then you need to do it. For instance, if you want to be a doctor, if you want to be an engineer, if you want to be whatever skill set that you need. But if you're just going for the modern day college experience, no, it's I have bad things to say about that.
Well, I got a business administration degree, so they're basically giving you, you know, this broad stroke. This is what business looks like.
Yes.
And so labor relations, like I talked about earlier, they just wanted you to understand if you work at a business that has a labor union involved, this is what you need to expect. This is how you need to interact. These are the perspectives you need to go in with. So when you get there, you don't just have a one-sided perspective where you're completely, you know, just throwing people under the bus left and right.
Yeah.
You need to be diversified in that regard. And my school did do a good job at giving you a blanket, you know, this is an overview of business as a whole in general.
Well, you know, talk about that experience too, Ben, because I mean, you have a really good story about that because you went through that period of your life where you were raising kids, fixing up a house, and going to college. So that, I mean, you had to eliminate a lot of distractions during that time.
So the job was, my wife worked. I was going through college to finish my bachelor's degree so she could come home and be a stay-at-home mom. But to make money on the side, I was flipping my house that I was living in with my family. And I had, you know, my children at the time. So I think I had one child at the time. But so I would basically wake up, make breakfast for my daughter, and help my wife get out the door, whatever that looked like. And then I'd take care of my daughter all day, make sure the house was cleaned. And then I would, every bit of time had to have its purpose. Time has a purpose just like anything else. And it was a resource like anything else. And so that helped me develop it, because after I took care of my daughter, at a certain point I'd say, okay, your mom's going to be home. The house must be cleaned. dinner must be made. You must be prepared for all of this stuff. And so it was a balance of, this is what she needed throughout the day. This is what the house needed throughout the day. And this is what my wife would need by the time she got home. So when my wife would get home, basically we'd do a handoff, and I'd be like, all right, we've eaten dinner. Everybody's happy. Everybody's satisfied. And I'd give my daughter to her. And then I'd say, okay, I've got to go tile floors for the next 6 hours or whatever. And basically she would give our daughter a bath for a little bit, and I would start preparing to work or working. And then when bedtime came, I'd put our daughter to bed. I might spend some time with my wife a little bit, but then I would turn around and stay up many nights until 11, 12, 2, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But then wake up at 6:30, 7 o'clock with my daughter and do it all over again.
Yeah.
And it was just this repeat of, 6 hours of sleep this night, 8 hours of sleep that night. But you balance, okay, I know I need this much sleep. This is how it gets. You get so focused, you know how much sleep you need for the task you have the next day. And everything is written on the calendar. There is no, well, I just decided to wander around one afternoon. But you have to say, to achieve this, I must say, my time is a resource, and I have to put so many hours towards it to achieve my goal. And I got the bachelor's degree like I was supposed to. I never failed, and I graduated and did well. My daughter's still alive. The house got flipped. My wife came home, and we had 2 more kids.
You accomplished the goals that you set yourself to do.
And then I flipped 2 more houses on the side.
That's great. That's great. All through the process of eliminating distractions.
That's it.
Well, that's a fascinating topic, Ben. I think we're probably going to have to go a little bit deeper in another episode of this, especially with your experience of being a stay-at-home dad for some time.
That would be a good topic for an episode. We should talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so glad we have a podcast and we plan on doing this again. And talking about it.
Why don't you close this out then?
Oh, yeah. It was my turn. Well, thank you, everyone, for listening to a Mexican and a redneck father of the world. We love you and we're proud of you.